Hi, welcome back to my channel. I make videos with a cosy feel about Hygge, intentional parenting and home. So today's video is the second part of my baby name video series, and today is on surname names for boys. So grab yourself a cup of tea, get yourself comfy and let's dive in. Okay, so the first name on my list is Donovan. I think this is such a beautiful, flexible sort of name. I love surname names, but I love this name in particular. I think it's quite hippie-ish in feel and it's really unusual, though I don't think that will be the case for long. Donovan is number 1210 on the UK's baby name list, which means that only 22 babies were named this last year, and it's of Gaelic origin and means dark-haired. I love how unusual this name is, although I think it's still familiar enough to feel just unusual without being too way out there. I think it's timeless and classic, which are good qualities in a name, I think. And with it being a longer name, I think it can add more sort of weight to a shorter surname as well. So one to watch, I think, this name. The next name on my list I have featured in a previous video, though I still think it's a great surname style name, which is why it's made the cut for this list. The name is Hollis, and it means dweller by the holly trees, which I think is a beautiful meaning for a name. It's a district in New York, so it has that sort of New York cool thing going on for it. If you're having a winter baby, then you can tie in that sort of winter Christmas theme in quite a subtle way. And it's still extremely rare. It's completely unranked, though I think you will start to hear this more and more. The next name on my list is Parker. It isn't that unusual. It's number 240 on the UK baby name list, but I don't think I would necessarily let that stop me. It's still far enough up the list for it to be relatively unusual without being unheard of. I think it's timeless. I think it has a bit of a Mad Men vibe about it as well, so if you like a bit of a throwback name but without it being too obviously vintage, then I think this would be a great surname name. In terms of meaning, it's of Old English in origin and means park keeper, which again is quite a nice name meaning. The next name on my list is one of my personal favourites. I would definitely consider this name if we were to ever have another baby. The name is Huxley. I have featured it in a video before, but I'm not letting that stop me on this list. It is a stunner of a name. It is still rare, it's 1146, but beware, because this name absolutely rocketed up the list last year. It went from being completely unranked to this position, so I definitely expect that in the summer when this year's list is released, I can imagine it will have shot up to maybe the 500 mark. We'll see if I'm right on that or not. I think if you love this name and you're not sure, I think absolutely go with it. I think it's a beautiful name. I love the X sound, it's very modern sounding, yet it has a nice heritage with the whole Robin Hood and Robin of Locksley theme. It has a beautiful nature meaning. It means woodland clearing. If you do use it, please let me know in the comments below. Another rare name for you here, the name is Beckett. It's 1546 on the list. Although it's rare, I think it sounds completely familiar to us. It's a very familiar surname and it has a beautiful name meaning. It means bee cottage and it's an Old English word for a beehive. It has beautiful literary connections, this name, with the playwright Samuel Beckett. So if you like drama or literary sort of associations with names, then this should really float your boat. The next name I have loved for years and years. I've never heard it in any other context other than an Agatha Christie book, and this name is Tressilian. Tressilian is a surname, but it's also a Cornish place name and means farm or settlement. I've only ever heard it in connection with Agatha Christie, and I think it was the book Hercule Poirot's Christmas. He was the butler. The next surname name on my list is Cameron. It is a well-known first name, but it is a very sort of classic Scottish surname. It's number 157 on the list, which does mean it is still relatively well known. However, this name has been on a downward trend for the last few years, so it is going to fall into rarity again. And I think it's a classic name and I think would suit a child and an adult. I think it's just a beautiful name. In terms of name meaning, it's of Scottish origin. There was a clan called the Cameron clan, and it means crooked nose or crooked river, depending on where you look the name up. The next name has another New York association, and the name is Hudson. It is gaining in popularity. It's number 135 on the list, which makes it the most common name on my list, but I think it's beautiful. Again, I think it's a timeless name. I think it has a real sort of rugged masculine feel to the name and brilliant sort of New York associations with the River Hudson. It's of Anglo-Scottish origin and means son of Hugh. I think with the birth of Archie Harrison, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's son, you'll start to see more of a rise of surname names because of his middle name being Harrison. I think it's a perfect alternative to Harrison if you were considering that name before the royal baby announcement and you're now sort of concerned about it rising in popularity too much. The next name on my list is a very rare name indeed, and that is Finnigan. I think this is a beautiful alternative to the name Finley. It's far more rare than Finley is. It's number 2512 on the list, and it still retains the same meaning as Finley, which is Little Fair One. Another name which isn't ranking yet for you next up, which is the name Devlin. I think this has a beautiful name meaning. It means fierce, and I think is a great name for a sort of feisty boy. How about the name Montgomery? The name ranks at number 381. It's of Anglo-Scottish origin, but its names are rooted in Calvados in France. I think this is great because I think you can also shorten it to Monty, which I think it has a real sort of cheeky chappy quality to it. The next name is another favourite of mine, and the name is Larson. I first heard about this name from the blogger and vlogger Hayley Rebecca. Her little boy is called Larson, and I just think it has real presence and weight as a name. I also like L names. I think they always sound sort of very sing-song and rhythmic in quality. It's number 526 on the list and means son of Lawrence. Another really rare name for you next, and that name is Maas. I love nature names, I love colour names, and so this sort of sums up a lot of themes for me. The name is of Anglo-Scottish origin and means dweller by the peat bog, so not exactly the most glamorous of associations, but I do love the colour of moss and its sort of natural associations. It's number 3040 on the list, and I think it's very adaptable. I think it would be lovely as a middle name as well. I love the character that's evoked by this next name. I think it has quite a hipsterish but cheeky quality at the same time, and the name is Huxley. It's number 554 on the list, so not as rare as you would expect it to be, so it's definitely one to watch. And again, it has a lovely nature association. It's Old English for Hugh's Meadow. If you have a relation called Hugh, that would be a lovely way of sort of referencing them. Or again, if you just like the sort of cheeky, quirky character of the name, then I would definitely recommend it. Okay, the last name on my list then, the name is Foster. I think it sounds beautiful and it has such a lovely meaning, which is to nourish or rear. I think again it's very adaptable. I can see it being used easily as a first name, but would just as equally be nice as a middle name. That's my list of names for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to watch part 1 of this video if you haven't already. I will leave it linked up here somewhere, and I'll leave it linked down below. I would love for you to subscribe and stick around for more cosy content and quirky baby names, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!